Hello everyone, today I am going to be talking about The Rattled Bones by S.M. Parker. So this was one of the books that I hauled. I believe it was in the October haul. I got this from Book Outlet and I didn't really know what to expect. I got it because I read something about like a ghostly voice and her windowsills would find me, and it just sounded intriguing, especially when I bought it. That was back in October, so I was looking for ghostly, spooky books to get into, and I picked this one up. And I thought that it was an adult, but it's actually a young adult, possibly new adult, paranormal mystery, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I also found out that this was based on a true story. I don't know how much I want to get into that part because I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe I'll touch on it a bit. But anyway, this book centers around Rilla, and Rilla has recently lost her father. He died suddenly. She is a high school senior, so she has just graduated and couldn't really enjoy a lot of her end of year festivities that go along with graduation because of the death of her dad. And she's feeling kind of a disconnect from her friend, her best friend. At the same time, she's having kind of relationship issues. Like, she loves her boyfriend, but Rilla dreams of going away to college and finding a better life for herself so that she can better support her life where they're living. This does take place in Maine, and it's a fishing town in Maine. It's a nice coastal area. So a lot of the people, including Rilla's boyfriend, go right into the fishing industry. So he doesn't understand why, when he's doing a good job, and I think technically it's lobster fishing, but he doesn't understand why, if he's doing well at his job and making the income, why she has to worry about going away to school. But Rilla sees beyond that. She wants to go to business school so that she can better have the business sense and lead them to greater success. It's not that she wants to abandon her hometown. She actually wants to improve it by improving herself and her skill set. But she can't seem to get her boyfriend to understand that. He's very much old school and believes that they should just settle down and get married and be satisfied with the simple life that they could have, because he's bringing in enough with his job. And so Rilla's dealing with that because she does love her boyfriend and she feels guilty about leaving him even to go to school. And at the same time, she's also worried about her grandmother who she's living with. So, and this is her maternal grandmother. So we find out pretty early on that when Rilla was very, very young, her mother seems to have had a mental breakdown and tried to drown herself in the ocean. It was an unsuccessful attempt, so while we don't know quite where Rilla's mother is, we know that she's alive and living somewhere away from them. But her maternal grandmother did take Rilla and her dad, and so they were living with her maternal grandmother in her maternal grandmother's ancestral home. And now that Rilla's dad is gone, since he was the main money maker, Rilla is concerned about leaving her grandmother and what money will be there to get her grandmother through until Rilla comes back on break or whatever and can make more money. So there's a lot of like financial strain that's going on for Rilla, and a lot of familial guilt and emotions, because she is dealing with the death of her dad. She's dealing with the thought of possibly abandoning her grandmother, who was already abandoned by her mother, while also dealing with the fact that she was abandoned by her mother and actually saw her attempt to kill herself. So there's a lot of emotional baggage that Rilla is dealing with. And on top of everything else that's happening to her, Rilla actually finds on her window this engraving that says "Find Me," and when she is out on her boat. I think she ends up landing on an island. Maybe she feels drawn there. But she thinks that she hears the crying of a baby on this island and that she sees a little girl. And as the book goes on, this haunted feeling starts to become more and more powerful to Rilla. And she starts to question whether or not she is experiencing a mental breakdown like her mother had. And so she starts worrying about her mental health and sanity and whether or not she's approaching a breaking point and that she will be in a bad place. Or is this something that is actually occurring? Is there a ghost that is actually trying to communicate with her? Yeah. So a little bit more things happen. Because that's a pretty good, intense summary. But on top of all that, when she is at that island that she landed on, she ends up meeting a college student named Sam. And Sam is investigating this island because years ago, and this is the part that gets to be the true story, there were inhabitants on that island that were forced out by the government. They were people that, if I'm remembering correctly, there wasn't anything wrong with the people on that island. They did allow for like interracial marriages and conditions such as that during that particular time was seen as a negative by the, I believe it was the overall state leadership, and they weren't so into that. They thought that it was wrong, and, you know, they wanted just like pure white relationships, I guess, like stick with your color match. I don't know. I believe from what I read in the articles about the actual island, that was how it went. So first they went there and I think built a school that they made the students attend, and were trying to better the, I don't know, the moral atmosphere of the island, I guess. And when that didn't work or wasn't panning out to what they wanted it to be, then they forcefully removed the inhabitants from the island, and they sent many of the inhabitants into like sanitariums for the mentally unsound, and really for nothing. Like they weren't unfit. There wasn't anything wrong with these people, and it took a long time, I guess, for them to make amends or attempt to, but it wasn't really a good effort from what I read. So that's a horrible piece of history, but that all ties into the story that's happening in this book, and it's fascinating. Yeah, this one was up there, in my opinion, stars wise, for like what to read. Like, this has got to be at least a 4.5 star read for me, because it brought in actual bits of history. There was the paranormal aspect. There's the mystery aspect. There's the questions about sanity and, you know, is what's being perceived, what's happening. I don't know. I still got to go with like the historical fiction part. Like that part was a good twist too. Yeah, I don't know. This was just, it was good. I love the dealings with the relationships within the story, and whether that was romantic or friendship or familial based. Great interpersonal relationships explored in this book. As you can see, it's not like too big, you know, it's under 400 pages. But the fact that it made you really, I don't know, like it made me personally want to know more about this island and the dark history that surrounded it. And it was pretty dark, like what they did to the people, and really for nothing other than they didn't agree with, you know, how they wanted to live. We have a not so great history about being that way, but yeah, I don't know. It was unexpected for me. It was not at all what I expected it to be like. but in a really good way. It turned out so much better. I thought it would just be a quick, like, paranormal romp, you know, something quick with some spooky vibes, but really it was full of, I think, bigger moral and ethical questions, which I'm always down for. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book by S.M. Parker. I have never read anything else by S.M. Parker, but I'd be willing to try something else, especially if it's in that same vein. You know, if it's really character driven, I would be super into trying it. And if it explores similar issues, I'd be totally into reading it. So yeah, I recommend this one. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye.